The roar of a big block V8, shaking your fillings loose versus dead silence and a whir that sounds like a kitchen appliance. That's the divide we're staring at today. We're talking about taking a vintage icon and ripping out its heart, pulling the engine that gave it life and replacing it with batteries and electric motors. Is this saving these cars for the next generation or destroying everything that made them special? I'm diving into EV swaps, the good, the bad, and the wallet-crushing reality of turning your classic into an electron burner. Let's talk about what actually happens when you commit to this surgery. First comes the teardown, and it's more involved than most people expect. You're pulling the engine, transmission, exhaust, fuel tank, fuel lines, radiator, and all the supporting hardware. By the time you're done, that engine bay looks like an empty cavern. Some guys call it a blank canvas. I call it the point of no return, where you realize just how much work is ahead of you. Now you've got choices. The adapter plate method is popular because it lets you keep the original transmission. Why would anyone want a manual gearbox behind an electric motor that doesn't need one? Because the shifter feel matters. That mechanical connection between your hand and the drivetrain is part of what makes these cars special. You bolt an adapter plate to the transmission bell housing, mount the electric motor to that plate, and suddenly you've got a silent power plant that still lets you row through the gears. It's unnecessary from an engineering standpoint, but absolutely necessary for the soul. Battery placement is where engineering gets serious. You're playing Tetris with heavy battery modules, and where you put them changes everything about how the car drives. Too much weight in the trunk, and you've got oversteer problems. Too much in the front, and the steering goes heavy. Smart builders split the pack between the engine bay and where the fuel tank used to live, trying to match the original weight distribution. Get this wrong, and your classic handles like a shopping cart with a broken wheel. Then there's the orange cable reality, high voltage wiring running through a 50-year-old car that was never designed for it. You need a DC-DC converter to run your 12-volt accessories. You need a battery management system to keep the cells from cooking themselves. You need cooling systems because lithium batteries hate heat. Anyone who thinks this is plug and play has never actually done one. Here's where things get interesting. Electric motors make peak torque at 0 RPM 0. You're not waiting for the engine to climb into its power band. You're not building revs before dumping the clutch. The moment you hit the accelerator, everything happens at once. It's violent and immediate in a way that even big block muscle cars can't match off the line. But here's what nobody tells you until they've snapped an axle shaft. Old differentials and half shafts were designed for engines that build power progressively. They were never meant to handle instant torque delivery. Stomp the pedal in an EV swapped classic, and you might hear a bang followed by the rear end going silent. Suddenly you're replacing a Dyna 44 with something beefier because your original running gear became a glass jaw against electric torque. The auditory experience changes completely. That rumbling idle, the exhaust note climbing through the gears, the mechanical symphony of combustion, gone. What replaces it is every noise you never heard before. Wind rushing past weather stripping that hasn't sealed properly since Reagan was president. Tire noise from bias plies you kept for the vintage look. Every rattle and squeak that the engine used to mask is now front and center. Regenerative braking adds another layer of weirdness. Lift off the accelerator and the car starts slowing itself down, feeding energy back into the batteries. In a 50-year-old car with questionable suspension geometry, this changes your corner entry completely. You're relearning how to drive something you've owned for decades. Let's talk money, because this is where dreams meet reality. Batteries are the biggest expense. Most builders source packs from wrecked Teslas because buying new cells is financially devastating. Even salvaged, you're looking at serious cash for enough capacity to make the car usable. Motors like the NetGain Hyper 9 or salvaged Tesla drive units add thousands more. Controllers, chargers, wiring, and all the supporting hardware stack up fast. Then there's labor. This isn't bolt-on work. Every swap is custom fabrication, motor mounts designed from scratch, battery boxes welded to fit specific spaces, cooling lines rooted around 50-year-old architecture that was never meant to accommodate them. Shops doing this work charge accordingly because they're solving problems that have never been solved before in that exact configuration. Market value gets complicated. Purists see an EV-swapped classic and walk away. They want matching numbers and original equipment, but the Restomod crowd sees it differently. They value drivability and modern performance. Where your car lands on that spectrum depends entirely on who's buying. Don't forget the hidden costs. You're adding serious weight with those batteries, which means stock brakes become inadequate. Converting from drums to discs becomes mandatory. Suspension needs stiffer springs to handle the load. Suddenly you're rebuilding the whole chassis to support a powertrain swap. Here's the upside that converts skeptics. Reliability. No more cold morning starts where you're pumping the accelerator and praying. No carburetor, jetting changes for altitude. No points to adjust. No timing to set. No oil to change. You turn the key and it goes. Every single time. Range is where reality bites back though. Classic car aerodynamics are basically bricks. These cars were designed when fuel was cheap, and nobody cared about drag coefficients. All that beautiful chrome and upright glass creates turbulence that murders efficiency. Where a sleek Tesla gets 300 miles, your EV-swapped Mustang might get 120 on a good day. Maintenance practically disappears. Think about what you used to do. Oil changes every 3,000 miles. Tune-ups with plugs and points and condenser, valve adjustments, cooling system flushes, all of that evaporates. You're checking brake pads and rotating tires. That's about it. There's a practical argument nobody likes to discuss. Cities are banning internal combustion engines. Emission zones are expanding. In 20 years, your gas-powered classic might be illegal to drive in major metropolitan areas. An EV swap but keeps the car on the road, legal and functional, when regulations make the original powertrain obsolete. So does ripping out the engine kill the soul of the car? That depends on what you think the soul actually is. Is it the vibration through the steering wheel? The exhaust note bouncing off tunnel walls? Or is it the shape, the style, the memories of what that car represents? Good builders understand both sides. Quality EV swaps don't cut the frame. They don't weld battery boxes into irreplaceable sheet metal. Everything bolts in, so everything can bolt back out. You can restore the original engine later if you change your mind. That reversibility is the peace treaty between purists and modifiers. There's an argument that EV technology might be the only thing that keeps these cars alive for another 50 years. When gasoline becomes exotic and internal combustion expertise dies with the last generation of mechanics who understood it, electric power keeps the sheet metal moving. It keeps kids seeing these shapes on the road. It keeps the culture alive in a different form. The car is different after the swap. Not better, not worse, evolved. It's a different relationship with the same body. Some people will never accept that. Others will embrace the daily drivability and silent torque. Neither side is wrong. They just love cars in different ways. You trade the noise for the daily drive. You lose the mechanical connection but gain reliability that actually lets you use the car instead of worrying about it. The question isn't whether EV swaps make sense. It's whether they make sense for you and how you want to experience these machines. If money was no object, would you EV swap your dream classic to drive it every single day, or is the original engine the heart and soul you can never replace? Drop your answer in the comments, because I genuinely want to know where you stand. Hit subscribe if you want more deep dives into car culture, where we tackle the questions that don't have easy answers. I'll catch you in the next one.